One of the biggest hurdles with ghostwriting is client management, because at the end of the day, you're doing a service. Now, this is the point where having an agent would be awesome. Having someone who stands in between you and the client would be a really great experience, but we all can't get there. We all don't have the money or the luxury of that option. And how can we get that amazing experience, or how can we manage the client? What I have are very strong contracts. It took me a while to get there, and I can show you templates and show you some examples of my contracts so you can see I'm actually going to add in a new element. My contracts really come from my experience, so as I have a bad experience with a client, I write in something new. For example, I'm going to start writing in my contracts rules about who's allowed to see an early version of the book. I recently had a client send a book that he had a friend do massive edits to that basically ruined the book. They trashed the book because the person, as best I could say, was an idiot. They basically wanted to take a book that was for advanced people and turn it into something that was dumbed down for people that can barely read. Basically, they took Dr. Zhivago and turned it into Dr. Seuss. And I said to the client, do you want me to ruin the book? I will if that's what you want. And they hadn't even checked the edits their friend did, and so they said, never mind. So now what we're gonna add into my contracts, I'm gonna say you're not allowed to have a friend do edits, and you only get 2 revisions in the review process. Because once I send it to a client and they send it back to me, I expect them to be happy with what they've sent me. But I discover that clients aren't very serious, and so they think they get unlimited revisions. And this has only happened with a couple of clients. The majority of my clients are rock solid and they're very good with communication and doing those things, but I'm adapting to that. So that's something that's very important with your clients, is upfront to set really clear expectations and be very strict. One thing you will discover is that clients will do everything late. The challenge I have, and it's a balancing act, is that they'll deliver everything late. They'll say, hey, I want a rough draft by next week. You turn it in, you don't hear back for 2 months. And you're waiting on that next payment because you finished something and you want to get paid, you're trying to make more money. That can be very, very tough because you're on a timeline and they're not. I recently had a client who said, hey, I need this book done in a month. I got it done on time. And they go, you know what? I'm going to launch it in 6 months instead. And I said, thanks, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. So they're sitting on a rough draft. I haven't gotten any feedback on it, so I hope they like it. And I won't find out for 3 or 4 months. The one thing they promised is that they pushed the date back, but when they sent back the rough draft, they'll only do it once. That was a promise he made. I don't know if he'll stick to it, we'll see. But you want to limit the number of revisions, who's allowed to send in revisions, and really be strict. It's hard to enforce the timeline because what am I going to do? Sue a client for taking too long? Most of those lines are there to say that if you ask for a delivery date and then you delay it, I don't have to pay extra. I don't get punished for that. That's a protection thing, because otherwise you can have a project where the client is motivated to hold on to the rough draft just so they don't have to make the second payment. So to protect yourself, I absolutely positively recommend that you have a solid contract and add in each of these clauses, think about these nightmare scenarios, and that will protect you from the client.